Good afternoon, Pudge, and yes, absolutely, thank you very, very much. It's Wednesday, it's just gone 12 p.m. It's been a while, but it can only mean one thing, it's back with the Cornwall Pride show. So I just want to ask a couple of, the viewers, a couple of familiar questions. So have you worked in an organisation and felt isolated because of who you are, or even unwelcomed because of the different work settings? Have you ever shared your thoughts and feelings in a safe place within a work environment, but actually didn't know where to go? So many organisations have staff networks, support, and also direct support for our communities. And one such network we spoke to last month is come back in again, which is fantastic, with the updates of their work streams and support, not only for their staff, but also for their patients too. So joining me today, we have Mikey Stevens, the LGBTQ+ lead for the Royal Cornwall Hospital NHS Trust. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me back.
No, absolutely. Thank you for coming back. No Edward this month.
Nope.
And no India.
No.
But they will be.
Yes. We're hopefully I'll be able to bring India down next month. She's been really tied up. We've got so much going on at the minute. So
well, you've got a massive project
site.
happening,
Yes.
Which we'll talk about a little bit later. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. For our viewers who missed last month's, Mikey, share a little bit about who you are and what you do within your role.
So basically, within the hospital, we've got what's called the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion team, which is a bit of a mouthful. So we shorten it to the EDI team. And basically, our role is the three of us, so me, India and Edward, working together to advise the trust at all levels. So working with the execs as well as sort of local managers in different departments to just try and make things a bit more inclusive, a bit more support them where they've got diversity, or if they've got people that they've not encountered before that have certain needs and they don't know how to support them properly. So we just help with that. And then the three of us have got within that team our own area that we specialise in. So obviously with me, I'm the LGBTQ lead. Edward is the lead for minority ethnicities, and India covers disabilities. She also works full-time as the overall inclusion lead. She's sort of the round-the-clock go-to person.
Well, for yourself, actually, this isn't a full-time role. This is 1 day a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wednesdays is my day.
And what do you do as your role for the NHS Trust?
So the other 4 days a week, I'm an assistant people partner. Again, lovely long title. Which to the outside world is a HR assistant, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for our viewers, what on earth is a staff support network?
So we're really lucky. We've got quite a few now, but essentially, they create a safe space for staff that identify with that network, with the theme of that network. Creates a safe space for them to raise concerns, to just share lived experiences and feel like they're not the only one of their kind in the trust, in our case. It also gives a really, really good place for me as a lead to go to and say, look, we've recognised that we're not doing so well on this. What do you guys think? Like, where can we improve on it? So it gives a really good platform for communication between the trust and that community within our staff group.
Well, everyone's different, aren't they? So it must be really important. Well, of course, it is really important for staff to feel valued and listened to within such a large organisation.
Yeah, because it's very easy for us to sit there and say everyone's voice is listened to, but when there's 8,500 voices to listen to, it's hard to pick out that single one.
Absolutely, and voices can get lost.
Yeah, the networks make it so much easier to make sure that those slightly quieter people are still heard.
Fantastic. And kind of thinking about those networks, putting you on the spot, what networks do you have? Because you've got some new ones now as well.
I'm bound to forget one. So I'll start with the easy ones. So we've got the LGBT network, which we share with our partner trust, the one that runs the community hospitals, Cornwall Partnership Trust. Yep. We share the LGBT network with that one, and the commissioning group. We've got the Minority Ethnics network, Disability network, which I think we call Pro-ability, try and be positive about it.
Fantastic.
We have a Gender Equality network, which is still sort of in its it's almost like a fetal stage at the minute.
Yeah.
We're still forming the paperwork for that. There's a menopause action group and a menopause support group.
Okay.
So the action group meet sort of during the working day, every other month, and then I think the support group tend to meet in the evenings, and that's more of a social element to it.
Yeah.
And we've got the Veterans Network, which is my newly acquired one.
Okay.
Still get my head around that one.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I've missed one. Oh, we've recently launched a neurodiversity network, which I think is the other new one that we talked about.
And okay, so with all of these networks, what do they actually do? I suppose we've kind of talked a little bit about the benefit for the staff, but what does the day-to-day running of a network look like? So
each of the networks they all meet regularly at varying frequencies. So some of them it's monthly, some are bi-monthly. There's probably sort of smaller staff groups that meet ad hoc anyway, but that's outside of us running the official networks.
Okay.
But yeah, generally they're always agendaed, they're always structured and planned. Everybody that is invited to attend them, so that you have to express an interest in wanting to attend. Particularly with our LGBTQ network, we're very mindful that some of our community aren't out, but still want to gain that support.
Okay.
So
how do you support them in that instance?
They got the choice to attend if they want to. It's always done online. Usually through Teams or similar. They've got the chance to, if they want to come along, they can. Otherwise, what we do is we'll give them an update on what's been talked about after. So, because the day of the week of the meeting varies from month to month, so I can't always attend them.
Yeah.
And when I can't attend, I get given an update on what was discussed and what decisions were made. Also, if there's anything that I need to action as the lead from the chair of the network.
Okay.
And that same update will go out to people that aren't out but still want that information, so they're not missing out just because they've chosen not to be out at work.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely fine. It's really hard to bear that in mind as an organisation that yes, we have LGBT people, but we also have people that don't want to be labelled as LGBT people, but still need that same support.
And potentially also people that identify as part of the community want the information, but maybe not necessarily out within their work setting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I forgot the other network, the Allies one. I always forget the Allies one. Nikki's going to shoot me. The Allies network is immense. It's across all characteristics. So it's just a general Allies thing. It doesn't matter whether you're an ally for minority ethnics or an LGBT ally.
That's fantastic.
There's that network as well. And again, they have that same thing of if you can't make it, they'll send the updates out afterwards. Okay. So.
Oh no, absolutely incredible. And so kind of what's the benefit to the staff within the network? And again, kind of putting you on the spot because you're going to be speaking for all staff.
Yeah.
But so what's the benefit for them within the network?
I'd like to think that they feel it certainly has been my experience anyway, as a LGBT member of staff, that it gives you that extra platform to be able to say what you want to say. And because ordinarily you'd only be able to give feedback to your line manager in most organisations. That's if you're not happy with something, you speak up, talk to your manager. But if you can't, because you don't have that relationship, or they're not around, or you don't feel like you can confide in them, particularly if they're not part of the community and haven't really had much exposure, then they're probably not going to have as much understanding as you might need them to have to discuss your issue. So it gives people that space to be able to talk about something, sound it out against other people who have enough of an understanding to be able to really get what they're saying and give really sound advice rather than just sort of next best thing. I'd like to think the benefit of it is it just provides that safe space to speak up without worrying about any repercussions. Because we all worry about that.
So what's the point? What is the point of that network? So there's an innate benefit for that person, but actually there's a lot of time spent on this for the benefit of the staff. So that kind of says the answer's there, but actually what's the point of it?
So that it kind of explains why the trust put our team in place. We were kind of the missing link. So we created these networks to sort of have this safe space for staff to speak up about whatever they want to talk about. But then it was a bit of a bottleneck as to where that information then goes to be able to make change.
Okay.
So introduce me, India and Edward.
Right.
And as leads, we can now affect. So obviously we have the national strategies and brilliant people strategy within the trust and all these other things that come down from on high.
Yeah.
But we can make sure that as we go about implementing those strategies and forming those action plans,
so
that we build in the feedback from the network, so that those changes that need to be made, that people are saying to us, actually, this really isn't working for us, we can make that change as we go forward.
So have you got an example of that action? So kind of you've had feedback and action that's been taken on the back of...
So all the time. So one that I'm working on at the minute is we've got a few colleagues who identify as transgender or non-binary, and they felt that they weren't comfortable with some elements of our supporting transgender policy.
Yeah.
That was raised through the network. The network chair fed it back to me and said, these are the concerns that have been raised about it. And I'm able to review the policy and get it, there's a very long process to get it, once I've rewritten it, to make those changes. It's then got to go through quite a few levels of approval, as all our policies do. But we're able to make that real-time change so that those staff members can see that not only were they allowed to say what they wanted to say, but it's been heard and it's been actioned.
That's incredibly powerful. Just from the voices of the people that work within the Royal Commonwealth Hospital Trust, you've been able to literally get hold of that information, look at an action plan and start a process to essentially rewrite policy.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
I should say as well, it's embedded in our systems that everything we do, we consult on. So it's not just me going, oh, okay, they don't like the policy, let's just rewrite it, as awesome as that would be.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't rewrite it for all I know, I could rewrite it and somebody else might disagree with the change that I've made.
Absolutely.
So we go through a whole consultation first and check that it's right for everybody that it impacts, not just the people that have said, actually, I don't like this wording.
Yeah.
We have to check it works for everybody every single time. And that's how we get better.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. And the staff network supports many groups within the NHS. You are the LGBTQ plus lead, and I've seen across many NHS trusts that there are these brightly coloured badges with an NHS on.
Yes,
oh, there we go. You've got one on there. Fantastic.
There
which is the NHS Rainbow scheme.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Well, what is the Rainbow scheme?
So,
how does it work?
So the badges that we've all seen, been going on for a long time. That was phase 1 of the scheme.
Okay.
And the idea was that each staff member that is either a member of the network, a member of our community, or is an ally of that community, makes a pledge to support, and not just I promise to be nice to LGBT people. It has to be meaningful and substantial. So it could be something like, I promise to promote equality and diversity in my work area, or as an ally, as a member of the Allies Network, I promise to post updates on the staff notice board. Something real that we can see them doing, and in exchange they get a badge to wear to show that they've made that pledge, and that they're able to, that they're somebody that if you or I attended as a patient, and we saw someone there wearing that badge, we know that that's somebody we can talk to, and that they get it. So that whole thing around with the network, that colleagues can go and can talk to someone that they know gets it. This tells patients that we're someone that gets it.
Now that's really, really interesting, because for someone that goes to hospital or goes to the doctors or whatever it might be, I just saw the NHS Rainbow badge as an NHS Rainbow badge. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah.
COVID's got a lot to answer for as well, because it did mix the message a little bit.
Yes, obviously. But even before that, but actually, what that now means, that's a real powerful message for anyone within the LGBTQ plus community, or even hidden communities, or even someone that's again, really struggling to be themselves, to see that as a symbol where they can feel more comfortable.
Yeah. And one thing that I found really interesting about it as well is where so many of my colleagues wear these now is colleagues that maybe weren't confident in their ability to support our community are kind of like, there's a thing I can do now. And they're reaching out and saying, I've seen people wearing these badges and I want one, because they are really popular. Everybody wants to wear one.
Yeah.
But even if it's just because they want to wear a rainbow. But then they find out that actually, the reason to do it. And they still go ahead and do that. So they're still making pledges, even just to get the badge. So it really worked.
So how's the Royal Cornwall Hospital Trust involved? Because you just said that was a stage 1. That's alluding to a stage 2.
Yes, it is indeed. So they rolled out, I think, over the summer, they did a very small pilot with 10 trusts. Basically, phase 2 is we're going from the badges for staff members.
Yeah.
There's now if you want, badges for hospitals.
Oh.
So very similar to, I guess, the process that Stonewall have, where they have their top 250 employers, and you have to meet certain criteria and get your gradings and everything.
Stonewall being the LGBTQ plus charity in London. Yeah.
So I think actually they're involved in it, as well as GLAD, the LGBT Foundation, a couple of other people, and NHS England as well, obviously.
Fantastic.
They've come together and put together this phase 2 of the scheme.
Yeah.
And essentially there's going to be 4 gradings, so you can either get foundation, bronze, silver or gold. And to achieve those, we have to submit, I've got to sit there and find them and submit them, submit certain policies. We run there'd be 3 separate surveys that will run. So one facing patients, one facing staff, and really interestingly, one for our service leads to discuss how the equality and diversity of their actual service, rather than the people delivering it.
Who would be a service lead?
So we're talking like department heads.
Right.
They're usually, as a patient, we wouldn't see who those people are. They would still be in a nursing scrubs or as a doctor.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's really thorough.
Okay.
So we're not just asking patients, were we friendly enough for you? And we're not saying to staff, did you feel discriminated against in work today?
Yeah.
We're also saying, are our processes okay as well, or do they need looking at?
Okay.
And so that will run over the next 3 months. I'm hoping to make an announcement in June as to hopefully how well we've done.
Yeah.
And what level we've got. But the best bit to come out of it.
June being Pride Month.
Yes, exactly.
Very helpful.
Yep. Totally planned that. And yeah, so once we don't just get it's not just about getting that badge of, oh, well done, you've achieved bronze or silver. There's a huge feedback piece that comes off of it as well from the Rainbow Badge Scheme organisers that highlights what we're doing well, so that we can encourage us to keep doing it, but also areas that we can improve on, so that over a few years we can go up and get better.
Okay. And how has the Royal Cornwall Hospital progressed over the last few years to be where it is now?
Well, they put me in place for a start. I mean, I've only been in post since March, same as India and Edward, but already just creating that team has made a huge impact. Because it's been able to expedite so many different things. I know that our chief exec currently is really, like, EDI is really close to his heart. He feels it's a really important thing. It's been made a priority in terms of staff wellbeing. Like, we recognise that actually it's not enough to just say, thank you NHS, and you're working really hard. We've been working hard for my colleagues up on the wards, for instance, have been working so hard for so long. There needs to be a bit more than just a thank you, and we recognise that. And we're saying, well, actually, there's going to be more issues than there's just patient after patient after patient. They've got their own issues going on at home. How can we support them with that? If they've got issues in their community, if there's big, huge events that impact people, just by having our team in place, we're able to recognise that if we've got colleagues with families in Afghanistan, the recent events over the summer are going to be really traumatising. That, on top of trying to deal with a global pandemic, can be too much for people to handle on their own. So just having us there and able to recognise that and say, there is support there if you need it, is hugely powerful and really, really supportive of our staff. And we get a lot of messages saying, we really appreciate that you're recognising this kind of stuff.
Actually, talking about the challenges over in Afghanistan, and it was only just not so long ago, Remembrance Sunday. Yeah. Also, you support the Veterans Network.
I do, yes.
Was this the first time? So we've got some photos coming up.
Yes.
Was this the first time the Royal Cornwall Hospital Trust sent wreaths?
I think we've done it before.
Okay, fantastic.
And
so I can't pop those up.
Can't take credit for sending the wreath. It was a colleague that organised that.
Brilliant.
But
so these wreaths are sent up on a train that goes to Paddington?
Yes. So I think it was the first train on Thursday it was, so on actual Remembrance Day. Yeah. The first train to London. I think it's part of the Routes to Remembrance national initiative. Yeah. And this particular one was what did they call it? They had a similar catchy title, something to Paddington. Okay. And yeah, it was an opportunity for any organisation that's sort of along the main line from Penzance through to London to put a wreath on that train as it pulls into their local station, and then they all get delivered to Paddington Station. And I happened to be there Thursday just gone, And as I was walking past, I saw them. I was like, oh, there's ours, because ours is quite bright.
Incredible.
I was like, it made it. It was nice to see that, to see the other end of it, because obviously a lot of people, we all see the cenotaph on the Sunday and all the wreaths that are up there and watch it on the telly, but it's something else to actually see it in person and see that it's all there.
And you let me know about a particular group that it was their first ever time at the cenotaph.
Yes,
can you
that
tell
was a nice
me?
surprise.
Can you let us know what about that?
So there's obviously we all know the issues that the military have had for a long, long time with our community, and how far they've come in quite a short space of time.
Yeah.
In terms of being more equal and accepting of us. But this year, marching past the cenotaph was a charity called Fighting with Pride.
Okay. Wow.
And it gets better. The person holding their wreath, so that their representative was the first trans woman to come out while serving. How amazing is that?
That's absolutely insane. Wow.
Like,
absolutely.
what a way to go. And it's the 100th anniversary of the Royal British Legion as well.
Yeah.
So for that to have something as momentous as that for us, but happen on a really important anniversary for them, it was just brilliant.
And keeping with Remembrance Days, it was also recently Transgender Remembrance Day as well.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important to hold this as a Remembrance Day?
For exactly the same reasons as we hold any other Remembrance Day. It I think a friend on Facebook actually shared something that showed a statistic. I think there was, I can't remember the exact figure, but there's over 300 deaths this year alone.
Yeah.
So since the last Trans Remembrance Day.
That's globally.
Globally, of just trans people that have died. And that really, really shocked me. I didn't realise it was as many as that.
Yeah. And I think, as far as I'm aware, the vast majority of those actually happen within South America. Yeah. Which was really surprising when there is the LGBTQ plus community aren't necessarily criminalised, or the transgender community aren't criminalised in South America. And
given that they're Spanish-speaking countries, and I think Spanish is one of the first languages to adapt to gender-neutral language, considering how much they rely on masculine and feminine pronouns and things, to adapt that quickly. I remember seeing that in the news, and I was like, wow, that's incredible. Pretty impressive.
Keeping with particular days,
yes.
So we're running, so that we've just had that, and we're going into the future.
Yeah.
December the 1st is World AIDS Day, and December the 3rd is International Disability Awareness Day.
Yeah.
Talking about particular days, why is it important? Why do you think it's important for the community, the LGBTQ plus community, and other communities to celebrate and mark these particular days?
It gives a little bit of recognition. I know that there is that whole thing of every day's an awareness day for something, and there's danger of it all sort of blending into one and people not listening. But I disagree with that. I think actually it's really important for it's kind of like, oh, that's my day. That's my day to be me.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, my personal view on it is, it's like, I feel like that when we have Cornwall Pride, I feel like that's my day to really be me and be how I want to be.
Yeah.
And when we get the other days, the other awareness days, they're also days where I can do that.
Yes.
Like, I always recognise National Coming Out Day by contacting a friend of mine. He's moved to Australia, but he helped me come out. Yeah. And even if we don't speak for months, I will make a point of messaging him on that day. So it's not always just about sort of sharing stuff on Facebook or social media to say, oh, it's National Coming Out Day. It's about what that means to individuals as a private person and what it can mean to them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there is, in the hospital, we always have some sort of education piece around it, even if it catches us off guard. At the very least, there'll be posts going out across our staff Facebook pages, and if we can sneak it into comms quickly, because there's always regular emails going out to the whole staff body. If we can get something in there, then we do. Where we've got more time to plan, so things like Edward was here last month talking about Black History Month in October. We can plan really much more in-depth events and have sort of, I think he had everything from custom menus in the kitchen to weekly changes to the displays in the library.
Wow.
Like all sorts. He went all out. like really set the
it's
bar
LGBTQ plus History Month in
I know,
February and Pride Month in June. There
Yeah.
we go. There you
I've
go.
got to
You've
start
you've got
planning
two
now
balls.
to meet his standard. He really set the bar high with that.
Thinking about World AIDS Day, and whilst we're here together, there have been some incredible leaps and bounds with technology and support for people that have AIDS. So I know the NHS have just recently adopted I think it's an injection instead of taking tablets to people with HIV take tablets daily to support as a medication, but instead of taking tablets, hopefully they're going to be able to take an injection every 2 months and such.
Okay.
That's just been released. And on World AIDS Day, you are able to purchase a red ribbon, and by purchasing those red ribbons, they were able to donate to the Terence Higgins Trust, who again research and support for people with HIV in the UK and across the world globally.
Yep, we were asked by the Terence Higgins Trust if we could put some have some things down in reception.
Amazing.
In our main entrance, but unfortunately because of the COVID protocols, as much as we'd love to, we can't, because of the whole everyone putting their hands in to pick out a badge from the pot. So then we'd have to have somebody there permanently with wet wipes wiping all of the things, or just have them swimming in antibac, which isn't good. Nobody wants.
However, you can buy them
badges.
online.
Yes,
you can buy them online,
and we'll be championing that. And we're still putting. We'll just go extra hard on putting out all the comms to promote the day and awareness and supporting patients and staff that are HIV positive. And
Thank you so much for joining us today. I know on the 3rd, it's 3rd of December, it's International Disability Awareness Day. So hopefully we'll be able to have India from the NHS Trust, part of the Royal Cornwall Hospital NHS Trust, as part of the EDI team, joining us for that. But for now, thank you very much, Mikey, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll go. Yeah, no, not absolute pleasure. We'll go across to Pudge.